So today we are having input and output concepts in computer organizations and architecture. In computer architecture and organization, input and output refers to the communication between a computer system and the external world. This involves transferring data between the computer's CPU or memory and peripheral devices, such as keyboards, mice, display, storage devices, etc. Input. Input refers to the data instructions entering the computer system from external devices. It allows user or other systems to send data commands to the computer for processing. Examples are keyboards, mouse, scanner, microphone, and etc. So output also refers to the data leaving the computer system to external devices. It provides processed results or responses to users or other systems. Example is monitor, printer, speaker, and etc. The key concept of input and output systems. Input or output devices, peripherals. Human readable devices. These are the ones that humans can easily read from. So we have the monitor, which is displayed the information of the output. We have the printer that prints the hard copy of the output. And we have the keyboard, which keys in the input or instructs the computer to perform a specific function. So we have the machine readable devices, that is the disk and sensors and network cards that is embedded within the system. So the input and output interface controllers act as intermediates between the CPU and input or output devices. Example is the USB controller, the SATA controller, and the GPU. Input and output techniques. Programmed input or output. CPU directs controls, that is, the CPU is responsible for the controlling of the input and output operations or the pooling. Interrupt driven input and output. Device sends interrupts to signals completion. Direct memory access allows devices to transfer data directly to memory without CPU intervention. So input and output buses. Pathways. So the buses are pathways for data transfer between CPU, memory, and input or output devices. Example is PCI, USB, Serial Advanced Technology Attachment, and Thunderbolt. Memory mapped input or output versus port mapped input or output. So memory mapped input or output, these are devices that are mapped into the system's memory space. So the port mapped also are devices that use to separate address spaces. So we have the input and output addressing mode. So we have isolated I/O ported mapped. This uses separate input and output instructions. Example, in and out in 86-bit system. Second one is input and output devices have a different address space from memory. Example, reading from a serial port using in and L. Memory mapped input or output. I/O devices are mapped into the main memory address space, accessed using standard memory instructions. Example, writing to a GPU frame buffer using MOV. Input and output performance metrics. Throughput, amount of data transferred per speed, that is in megabytes. Example. Latency, time taken for an input or output operation to complete. Bandwidth, maximum possible data transfer rate of bus interface. Modern input or output technologies. So we have the USB, that is universal serial bus, hot pluggable high-speed serial interface. Thunderbolt combines PCIs and DisplayPort for ultra-fast data transfer. Non-volatile memory express, that is high-speed SSD interfacing with PCIs. Importance of input or output computer systems. So it enables interaction between users and computers, facilitates data storage and retrieval, and also allows communication between multiple systems, that is in networking. So critical for lifetime systems, that is sensors and robotics. Thank you, sir.